On episode 304 of the podcast, we talk about some interviewing best practices. We also talk about retainer secrets, content marketing strategies for filmmakers, how to audition a client, and the importance of having core values for you and understanding and knowing what the core values of your clients are. What's up, friend? I am Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas, and this is the Grow Your Video Business podcast. It is hilarious to listen to my 7-year-old try to do her impression of dad doing his podcast introduction. Yes, but this is the show for corporate and commercial filmmakers where we talk about the business of production, how to do more than just survive in video, but how to thrive and how to add a ton of value for your clients and how to build a business that runs, that is profitable, that is fulfilling and fun. So here we are, my friend. It is the day after the Onward Summit. This is the in-person event that I've hosted. This is our third year doing this event for corporate and commercial filmmakers, and it was incredible. It was so good. I came home yesterday after it was all said and done, and I took a nap in the middle of the afternoon for like an hour and a half. I woke up with a massive headache. It's like, what is happening right now? And we were all in. Everybody was all in, and there was so much to learn, so much connecting, so much staying out late. And as a celebration of a successful event, I ended up eating, I think, half of this massive bucket of peanut M&Ms between last night and today. Okay, this isn't all me, but man, I sure did pound some of these. And speaking of pounds, I'm sure I weigh a couple more after all that. Totally. Here's the thing. If you have been wanting to come to this event, we're going to do it again. At least that's the hope. We're going to do it again next year, probably around this same time. And so my encouragement for you would be to go to onwardsummit.com and just join the waitlist so that you can be notified when we have news of when and where. I mean, I'm sure it'll be at our studio again in Metro Detroit, but would love to see you there if you're considering it. The surveys are coming in, and I talked to everybody there, and I did not talk to one person that just said, not my cup of tea. Everybody really got a ton out of it. So I'm super grateful. It was amazing. And I hope to see you at the very next one. Speaking of the next one, the whole point of this show and the point of what I'm trying to do, how I'm trying to help and show up for you is so that you can have a business that is sustainable, one that isn't just here today, but one that can build, one that you can have in the future, one that you can really make an impact, a long-lasting impact. And part of that means that you need to be able to charge what you're worth. You need to be profitable on your jobs. You need to know your numbers and some of the business things that most of us have no idea about. And so I want to invite you to check out a free workshop that I have where I share my learnings from the last 18 years. This month is my 18th year in business, running a video production business. And in this workshop, I share 3 of the things that I've done inside of my business that have worked to allow us to be a $1 million production company. And these aren't on multiple 6-figure jobs a year. These are clients that you probably have never heard of, and budgets that range from $10,000 to 20, sometimes 30, sometimes 100,000. We're not an ad agency. We're not doing massive contracts. We don't have a ton of retainer clients that are paying, $30, $50, $100,000 a year. So in this workshop, I go over the things that have been working for our business and some of the things that haven't worked. So you can get access to this workshop by going to studiosherpas.com/workshop. And totally free, and I would love for you to jump in there and get a sense of the things that we're doing, and hopefully have a plan of action after you digest that information and figure out what works for you, right? Everybody's different. Everybody has different skill sets and desires and dreams and all that stuff, but I'm certain that there's some things in there that can help you in your video business. With that, let's jump into this episode. Really excited about it. Some solid gold nuggets in here with my interview with Tony. So drum roll, and here we go. What's up, friends? Hey, welcome to this episode of the podcast. With me today is Mr. Tony Gnau, who is the founder and chief storytelling officer at T60 Productions. He is a 3-time Emmy Award-winning journalist. He's won 17 Telly Awards. The list here is pretty long, so just brace yourselves, guys. This guy's incredibly impressive. 17 Telly Awards for his corporate videos. He's the author of the book Lights, Camera, Impact, Storytelling, Branding, and Production Tips for Engaging Corporate Videos. He's done all sorts of work for big corporations, including a very impressive name, NBA legend Dwayne Wade. That's pretty awesome. He's written only over 700 blog posts, and he is also a former USC Trojan football player, Star Wars geek, and devoted husband and father. Tony, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun. I listened to that list and I'm like, wow, who's that guy?
What did I do? I feel like maybe instead of doing a podcast, we should have just co-wrote a blog post together or something. I don't know.
I know, seriously. Maybe. Absolutely. I always think it's funny, video guys writing blog posts,
right?
But, such is the way of the internet, right?
Less audio issues with blog posts, huh?
For sure, yes, always.
What's
audio?
your favorite?
Do we have audio issues?
Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What's your favorite Star Wars episode?
Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh, yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
definitely the original trilogy. I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, so yep. I go back to that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love Empire Strikes Back. I definitely lean toward Return of the Jedi. I vividly remember going to the theater with my aunt and also having oh man, I can't remember now. I think it was the Burger King glasses that they had made.
The glasses. Oh, I had those.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, dude, your resume is pretty impressive. What would you say? What's your favorite thing in all of the video work that you have opportunity to do? What's one of your most favorite, most fulfilling parts of the work?
The fulfilling parts of the work, I think it's just I really love the storytelling aspect of it. I mean, that's the thing that really gets me excited. I started my career as a TV news reporter, and I remember working in my first station in Kearney, Nebraska, and at that time, I mean, they do it now too, where when you start in small markets and work your way up in the small markets, you do everything. Yeah. I mean, you shoot your own video, you edit, you write the story, you have to set up your own live shots, the whole thing. And I remember thinking I don't want to do all this video stuff. I just want to be the reporter. I want to do this. I want to be the person in front of the camera and present the stories. And really, as I was working at that first job in Kearney, I really fell in love with the whole video storytelling aspect of it. And it's not just, from my perspective at that time, not just writing the story, it's how to marry the images with the words and the sound bites and all of that. And I went to a National Press Photographer Association seminar in Omaha, and it just blew me away because I grew up in Chicago, and the state of TV news in Chicago isn't that great. It's all just run and gun and get it on as quickly as you can. And I started seeing stories from Denver and Cincinnati and places like that where they were doing really good, Minneapolis, really good TV news stories that. I mean, the video aspect of it and the sound, using natural sound and stuff. I mean, I just never seen anything like that before. And I was like, how can I do that? And I just fell in love with it. So I think it's that. It's the whole video storytelling. It's, crafting the story, using the video and the sounds to enhance all of it. That's what just really gets me excited about it.
Yeah, I love that. With all of the writing, that you do. How does that, I mean, does that help your business? Has it helped you get clients?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hands down. For anybody who's just starting off or, really trying to grow their business, I mean, I employ a content marketing strategy. I'm heavy into content marketing. And for anybody who's unfamiliar with it, I would recommend looking into it. And the idea is you provide content to everybody out there, whatever you're an expert on, in this case, video production. And basically, you hope that, by them watching it, that, you'll develop into at least some sort of a thought leader, or that, you will become the expert that people turn to. And so that, when people are searching for video production companies, whatever it might be, Google will send them your way because you have become the expert via the content that you have put out into the world. I was really struggling with this when I first started. I thought, well, it's just write as many blog posts as you can. I mean, you mentioned I've written over 700 blog posts. And at the time when I first started, I was writing like 300-word blog posts, and that was it. But I was churning them out every single day, day in and day out, and I wasn't getting any traction at all. And I ended up becoming friends with a guy named Andy Crestadina at Orbit Media Studios. They're a web development and design firm in Chicago. And Andy and his team, they are expert content marketers. I mean, you go to marketing conferences all over the country and you'll find Andy speaking at these conferences. He's fantastic. And so I said, what am I doing wrong? And he sat down and helped me recraft this content marketing strategy that was really, write longer blog posts, really get as detailed as you possibly can. And the hope is that Google is going to look at that longer post as being more authoritative. And so he sort of challenged me. He said, what's something that the people in your industry don't want to talk about or have a hard time explaining? And write something on that. So the number one question that I would always get is, how much does a video cost?
Right.
Or how do I figure out how much a video costs? And so I wrote a post entitled How to Figure Out Video Production Cost and optimized it for the search term video production cost. And it became like far and away my best content piece that I've ever written. I can't remember how many words it is. I want to say it's like 1,700 words or something like that. And I include videos, just all sorts of different stuff in there. And I get thousands and thousands and thousands of people to our website every single month because of that one blog post. And I get a lot of video professionals coming there as well, especially people starting out, because they want to know, how much should I charge for a video? And what I have laid out in the blog post is how we do it. It's not like the end all be all. This is the way everybody should do it. This is how we do it. And really my purpose was to kind of demystify the whole thing for marketing and PR professionals and internal communicators who are trying to figure out how to price or how to budget for video. And I thought if they could at least see what our process is, that'll give them a better idea of how to do it on their end. But so many video providers have written to me thanking me for the post and everything, that I know there's a lot of content creators out there that are using it as well. And it brings in tons of traffic to our website. So content marketing is a great tool to use for your video business, for sure.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Can you estimate how over the years, how many dollars in business that you may have gotten because of people reading articles and then ended up hiring you?
Right. That's a good question. I've never sat down and figured it out for sure, but I can tell you that we get at least like 2 or 3 new customers a year just based on the content that we churn out. And those videos can range anywhere from, I guess, like $1,000, because we have like a low cost entry option that people can do. But most of our videos are probably average at like $5,500, like $5,500. And so, I mean, let's say it's just 2 people a year, that's $11,000 a year. And, I've been doing it for think we put this post up maybe like 8 years ago. So, I mean, you're talking serious dollars, and we're not a big shop. I mean, we're a 2-person video production company. So we're not out there challenging big production companies or anything. We're not doing projects like single videos that are worth in the tens of thousands of dollars. Like I said, our average video is $5,500.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to get 2 new customers every year, and I can tell you that like some of those customers have then stuck with us, where we've continued doing videos for them year in and year out. I mean, now it's not just, those 2 videos a year, it's adding up, exponentially with those people staying on because they like what we did for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, just to have something that's running in the background, working for you. Yeah. You just did it one time, and it's creating leads and opportunities. Dude, that's like, I love that. That's really cool.
It's amazing. It's definitely a marathon strategy, though.
Totally.
I mean, it's not a sprint strategy. It's like if you have like a short-term, need or goal that you're trying to fill in terms of sales or whatever, content marketing is not the one that's going to help you accomplish that. But if you're like looking long-term down the road, then it's something that can really be a benefit.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because to build a business, there's like the right here and the right now. You need money today to, be able to eat and pay your bills. And hopefully your long-term plan and strategy is like, okay, I need to increase my pricing over time. I need to do less of the jobs in my business that I don't like doing, that don't generate revenue. We have to be thinking, okay, what's right here in front of me that that has to take my attention right now, but also what are the long-term things that are going to help me survive, but like maybe even thrive. And, content marketing is one of those things that it just doesn't, in today's day and age, it doesn't seem like it's that smart, because, man, I want to do a video and I want it to go viral on TikTok, and that's what I'm going to put all my eggs in that basket and hope that hits, so that, man, we can just start getting a ton of leads. And that's a very short-sighted strategy. I would just implore people to do both. Like, don't just think short term, like play the long game in all of the things that you're doing, investing in with your money, investing in relationships, investing in your business.
100%. I mean, it's, you have to do all of it. And I think that's the hard thing that I struggled with when I first started the company, was that, I just wanted to produce videos. Yeah, right. I think, totally. Like most of us, like, I just want to tell stories, and now all of a sudden I have to learn how to be a marketer. Yeah. I have to learn that, it's like, it just piles up. What I try to do is I try to set aside Fridays, and Fridays are my day to work on the business instead of in the business.
Love it.
And I have found that has worked really well for me. Now, I can't do it all the time. I mean, every once in a while, you'll get that customer who will, request a Friday shoot or, whatever it might be. But for the most part, I try to just set that Fridays aside and say, I'm working on the business this day. And that's the day that I will write a blog post, or I'll record a vlog, or maybe there's a presentation. I do a lot of speaking at marketing events and stuff. So maybe there's a presentation I need to work on, whatever it might be. My accounting, I'll do my accounting on Fridays. I mean, whatever it is, I make a list during the week of stuff that I need to be doing, for the business. And Fridays is the day that I try to take care of that stuff.
Man, I talk about like killing your weekend by doing accounting on a Friday. That just sounds like...
No, it helps. Honestly, I mean, first of all,
I don't care what you're about to say. That just sounds like the worst idea ever.
But if I do it on Friday, then I'm not like thinking about it over the weekend, where it's like, I should have done the accounting on Friday, and now I've had that over my head for when I get into the office on Monday. It's like, nope, just get it done on Friday, and then it's done with.
All right. Next best.
I need to do a better job of that myself. Trust me. I mean, it's
Next best thing is to hire an accountant that just does that for you and then reports to you on Monday morning.
There's that for sure.
So tell me, one of the things I know you wanted to talk about was video production retainers. How have those worked in your business? How are you doing them?
I would love more of them.
Yeah. Oh, that's all. That's what you wanted to talk about. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I had never, you know what? It's something that I had never really jumped into at all until like really when the pandemic hit full force.
Yeah.
And we had one of our regular customers, we got really lucky. When the pandemic hit, we had like a whole bunch of videos just in the hopper, ready to go, projects to work on. And of course, they all just left overnight and said, we're not going to do them. Yeah. But we had a few customers who like really dug into their video strategy and said, we're going to, we're doubling down on video. We're not going away from video. And at that point, it was like, what makes sense if we're going to do this, all these videos that they wanted to do, I said, it probably makes more sense to have, as opposed to a, just a contract with all of these videos in it. Why don't we do some sort of a retainer system? And so I basically started looking around at all sorts of different retainer models that other video production companies were doing and kind of came up with my own version that I liked a little bit better. In doing some research. And I think research is kind of the key to like any of this stuff when you do it. Yeah. Like I started calling our customers. I started talking to other like marketing and PR professionals who had done video retainers in the past to find out what they liked, what they didn't like. And so then I kind of crafted our own. And sure enough, one of our customers signed on for it and we did it. Holy cow. I mean, you talk about just a game changer in terms of, taking the weight off your shoulders. Yeah. When you know that you have X amount of income coming in every single month, from the same customer or whatever, man, that is such a luxury. Right. I mean, I think for most of us, the biggest thing is like tracking down new customers or even the existing customers and getting them to do more videos, whatever it might be. It's like that constant kind of hustle to do that sort of thing. When you have this retainer thing set up and somebody signs up for it, it's like, holy cow, we just get a check every single month and we don't have to go chasing them down to do videos or anything. They're coming to us and we've got this whole thing set up. It's just, I mean, it was a huge just game changer for us. And it's something that, I immediately was like, we need to do more of this. This is a good deal. So I would recommend anybody. Now, I don't think it's right for like just diving into with anybody. I mean, we all know that, it's like, some customers are easier to work with than others. Right. Yes. And so there might be some customers where you're like, I don't want to deal with them every single month. Once a year, that's fine. Right. I can handle that. But, so you really want to make sure that you're sort of, it really is kind of a marriage situation. So date before you get married and make sure that, you get along with that particular customer. And then if the two of you are both in on it, then it's like, go for that retainer because that steady income coming in, man, it is such a weight off the shoulders.
Yeah, I love that. That feeling, number one, being clear on, you need to be clear on what your monthly nut is, right? So if you need to make $10,000 a month, deposit $10,000 a month in order for you to be able to pay all your expenses and cover your profit and, all that stuff, in some cases, maybe it's $50,000 or more. Once you know that, then, as you pursue any type of retainer relationship, to think through like, man, we've got, 2 clients that are paying us $10,000 a month. So there's 20,000 of our 50,000 that we need. So now we only need to sell $30,000. And if you divide that out by 4 weeks, then it's like, okay, so it's like $7,500 a week. I think I'm actually doing really good public math right now, and I'm proud of myself. But that becomes a lot less daunting, right? Especially if you're the one who's responsible for the sales in your business, to be able to land anything that helps offset that monthly amount that you need to be winning and depositing, so that you're covering your bases and your expenses and all of that stuff. I love that.
And I mean, you hit the nail right on the head too. I mean, it's like, that's the great way to go about looking at it is, what are your expenses and how much, do you need to keep operating the business and all of that. And I love the fact that you also threw profit into that category, because let's do that. Let's actually profit from our businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing this to earn a living.
Right.
And the better you are able to plan this way, the more profit you'll earn, and that's what we're that's what we're in this for. I mean, we want to tell stories and we want to do the job that we enjoy doing, but at the end of the day, we're doing it for money. So let's set ourselves up for as much success in that area that we can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in doing this, you hit the nail on the head when you talked about kind of like making sure that you get along with these customers. And I think that sort of plays into knowing what your core values are. Like, what kind of clients do you like to work with? What kind of company are you? What do you care about? And trying to find other companies that are similar, and having some kind of an audition process for them, right? And instead of just thinking like whoever comes knocking on my door, or they read my blog post and they're reaching out for a quote, instead of just assuming that you're in the hot seat and that you have to answer their questions correctly in the right way so that they can figure out if they want to hire you, just know this is like, it takes two to tango, right? That you need to make sure that you want to work with them too. And you need to be auditioning them and asking them questions like, hey, tell me a little bit about your core values. Like, what do you guys care about? Like, what things just really drive you? What get you excited? What things do you not really care about? And being able to understand those things so that you know what you're getting yourself into. Like our advice to companies is like, hey, you should have a brand story that gets to the soul of who you are, so that when people come to your website, watch your video, they get you, they understand you. Maybe it does incorporate your core values, but you get a sense of the culture. And that's the same thing that you should be doing with anybody that you're working with. Instead of just out of desperation taking on any client, it's like, hey, let's just like dig in a little bit here, and let's make sure that we both are going to benefit from this relationship. If we do, then we're both winning. But I don't want you to be frustrated and be surprised later that you're not aligning with what we're all about, and vice versa. I don't want to get into this job and realize that you guys just want to make more money. You don't care about people, and you're going to do whatever it takes to grow, to be profitable. Like, we don't align with that stuff. We don't care about that stuff. So let's ask better questions of the people that we're gonna end up spending a lot of time with in planning, pre-production, production, and then post-production. Do we really want to be spending all of that time with somebody who just doesn't care about people or doesn't share another value that we have?
And sometimes it takes working with them. I mean, it's like, it's
for sure,
because you can ask all those questions, and I think you should, but ultimately it's like, you find out who they are when you actually start working with them. Right. Because I mean, I'll give you an example. Like, one of our core values is transparency. The whole reason I wrote that blog post, I was trying to be transparent with everybody. Here's how we price videos. Every single proposal that we send out to somebody includes that blog post. Here's how we're going to price your video.
It's good.
So transparency is really important to us. Whenever we take on a new customer and end up on the video shoot, and it's like, you can tell they're like trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, or, they're trying to fool them with, their video or whatever. Like, what the message they're putting out there doesn't translate to what you're seeing in person there, and they don't want you to communicate, that. It's like, those are the people that we just don't want to work with. We have done single videos for people and then turned them down in the future because of that. And that is certainly not a customer that we would want to do a retainer with. We refer to our retainer as the VIP video club. It's a club. We ask you if you would like to be a member, and we're admitting membership. We're admitting the members. We're the ones in charge of that. We're not extending that offer to every single person. So if we ask somebody to be a part of the VIP video club, it's because we like them and we want to work with them. So we love it when we get like a customer like that. You work with somebody and you just like immediately click with them, and things are just rolling. And it's like, that's, the type of organization that we want as a retainer customer. And, we truly look at it as as being mutually beneficial. I mean, it's great for us as video producers because of that steady stream of income that we get, but there are all sorts of benefits that the customers get from being a retainer customer as well. And we really think it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So we only extend that to people that we like and that we want to work with. So you're absolutely right. You definitely want to like single out people that you're in tune with.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, giving your clients a name, an exclusive name and an invitation, calling it something. I think that's pretty brilliant. So that seems to be something that you've done to make this retainer model unique to you guys. Are there any other tips or tricks in making retainers your own?
I mean, I think, look at the different models out there. Again, like we came up with our own. I think it's good to craft something that makes sense for you. Yeah. It depends on how you work and how you price things and the amount of time that you put in and really craft something that makes sense for you first, and then see how that model can help your customers and help your clients and figure out why it works for them as well. But it has to start with your own company, and why does this work for us? It's not just about, collecting that monthly check or whatever. It's, how is it going to save you time? How are you, all sorts of different things should be, considered because, what are you going to offer them? Are they going to have like exclusive access to you in some way? Do they get dibs on video shoot, your video shoot calendar, or whatever it might be? There are all sorts of perks that you can come up with, but it has to make sense for you. You don't want to just be giving things away and then you're like, oh my God, we actually ended up offering more services than what they're worth, and even if it is a monthly check that's coming in. So make sure to kind of do your due diligence and look inward and what makes sense for you.
Yeah, love that. And then as far as like what you're delivering, is it pretty set like for your retainer clients? Are you delivering like one kind of video, or do you offer like a bunch of different kinds of videos that people need to pick from, a menu?
Sure. This is really gets to kind of the heart of the system that we came up with, because when I started talking to marketing and PR professionals, they all love the idea of the video retainer, but it was always based on like a number of production hours every month. Well, I mean, if you're a marketer, you have no idea how much time post-production takes, or, like that means nothing to you. So what I wanted to do was try to come up with a system that would be easy for them to understand. So we do two types of videos. We have what's called a basic video. And for us, that's something where we're not really involved in the storytelling, or there's no storytelling involved. Yeah. So an example of a basic video might be, you have an existing customer and the CEO is going to be giving a presentation at some luncheon, and they want you to come out and shoot video of that and edit together just like a basic little video, sample or something, like that's a basic video. And then we have a storytelling video, and that's where we're really taking the reins completely, and we're going to, we're going to craft the script, we're going to, do all of that stuff and really tell a story. And so we break it up into those, and each one is a point. So you've got, a basic video is 1 point, and then a storytelling is 2 points. And you, as the customer, as a member of the VIP Video Club, you get a certain amount of points every quarter. We have them pay by the month, but we do it over the course of a quarter. And so you get a certain number of points per quarter, and you can allocate those points however you want to do it. You can use all as basic videos. You could do a mix and match, whatever you want to do.
And then here's a question. This is so funny. This is the second time in 2 days that people have brought up points. I'm like, oh, okay, this is an interesting model. Do the points expire at the end of the quarter?
We do. You can roll over a certain amount of points, and we work that out with whoever the customer is. I mean, they might value that more than others, but I tell them flat out, we can't roll over every point,
right.
And I explain to them why. The reason why we can't roll over every point is because if you hold on to all these points and then come back to us in the fourth quarter or something, and all of a sudden you want to do 10 videos, that's more than we can handle.
Yeah.
We have other customers that we need to service as well, and that's unfair to us.
Yeah.
So what we really try to do is we want people producing videos. So what we tell them is we're going to get in contact with you at the start of every quarter or before every quarter starts and really go over, hey, what videos are you looking to do this month? Do you need suggestions on videos you should be doing? And really work with them almost in a consultancy role to help them figure out what videos might be beneficial for them, because we want them using those videos, because the more they use them, the more they'll stick with that retainer.
Right.
It's like it's easy to sit back and be like, oh, somebody didn't use all their points. I guess we got some free money or whatever. But then those are the ones who are going to leave.
Totally.
Because they're like, that's the gym membership that never gets used, So they'll be out the door as soon as that contract is up. So we want to keep them doing videos, and we find it's beneficial to keep going back to them and helping them with suggestions.
Yeah, love that. That's cool. It's an interesting model. So I did ask our community if they had any specific questions for you, and a couple of the questions that came in were very like story based. And this first one is from Kyle Smeraldo, and Kyle asked, what are the best questions to ask your client to bring out their story?
A lot of times it's not a question at all. I find it's, just making a statement to them and seeing how they respond to it, so this is very generic, but, instead of asking them, do you have a passion for what you do, or what's your passion in what you do? You just look at after they've, answered a question or something where you could tell that, they're into whatever it is, you just look at them and say, you have a real passion for this, and you just let that sit and you let them expound on that. And people do. So a lot of times it's not even asking a question at all. It's just being an active listener, paying attention when they're asking things. And when you see them start to get excited about something, just almost, sometimes you just say it right back at them, so they're like, we're really passionate about serving our customers and blah, 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 blah. And then when they're done, you're like, you are really passionate about serving your customers. Well, that's what we're all about. And then all of a sudden you got this great soundbite and you're off and running. So that's one of the tricks that I always like to use.
I was just cracking up, dude. I'm reminded of one of my mentors, actually, one of the guys that inspired me to want to get into this work. His name is Dan Mountain, and he spent a good part of his career as a news anchor, field reporter or something. I'm botching his the guy had an epic career, but I hired him a couple of different times to do interviews for us. I mean, I normally would do all interviews, but there was this one particular project where I was like, man, Dan, I've seen him, and he has this ability to be able to like get people to cry without like doing anything. And as soon as you said what you do, I'm like, that's what Dan did. He would say something and then he would sit there. And then just something, there's like this magic in the air. So follow-up question is like, if you were to say something like that, like, man, you are really passionate about your customers. Like how long would you sit there? And maybe it's a more emotional like story, right? So it's not like, oh yeah, we're super passionate. Like something that would require somebody to like reflect a little bit longer because it is emotional. Like how long would you actually sit in silence before you're kind of like, okay, they're not going to say anything?
I mean, you have to read the situation. Yeah. I don't think there's like, you wait 5 seconds. Yeah. I don't think it's like that at all. You read the situation. I mean, especially, I love that you brought up the crying thing. I mean, like I'm laughing when you say that, because like I always joke that like we're in one of the few professions where you actually get excited about making somebody else cry, and it's like a good thing. I joke about it all the time. There have been shoots where I've come back. Well, one of our customers in the Milwaukee area is Lutheran Social Services, and we've done some great videos for them. And it's always like these unbelievably emotional stories that, you don't get from the accounting firm or whatever. But, like I remember like coming home and my wife being like, did you get anybody to cry today? And I'm always like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I'm all excited. But yeah, I mean, you read the situation. I mean, like, you can tell when somebody is on the verge of being emotional. At least I hope you can.
Yeah.
I can, and so it's like, I think, like, there've been so many times when I've looked at, them, and they're talking about somebody that they love, or, whatever. And you're like, you really love them, don't you? And you just sit there and you give them that nice something, you just stare at them, and you can see them start to well up, and you just wait. If they look like they're welling up, then you wait as long as it takes. And sometimes people will reel themselves in.
Yeah.
But I mean, what difference does it make to you? This isn't a live interview, I mean, we've got other memory cards, right? So I mean, just, let it go. And if they reel themselves in, then you just move on to the next question. But if I see somebody on the verge of getting emotional, like, I will absolutely lean into silence. People hate silence. They have to fill it. Yeah. And so it's like, if you were able to utilize that to your advantage, go for it.
Yeah, man, that's so good. Man, I'm glad that we're talking about this. This is fun. Let's see. One more question from Christian Aracena asked, just like, wrong way to ask questions, or just any other best practices around interviewing?
I think the wrong way to ask questions is to be asking too many questions. I think a lot of times people, when they interview somebody, all of a sudden it becomes about them, and the questions that they need to ask. Yeah. And, they start expounding on things. And it's like, it's not about you. It's about that person that's in front of the camera that you're interviewing, and let them talk. And so I think it's more about the listening than it is asking the questions. Because, like, I'll go in and I'll have, like, a list of questions that I need to ask, or, like, you'll have that marketing or PR person hand you a whole list of questions that they want you to ask. Go through and I'll ask all those questions. Yep. And I'll listen and pay attention as we're going through them. But, like, I will always get to the end of the interview of the appointed questions and ask additional questions. Mm-hmm. And those are for me. Yeah. Those are, and the way I always look at it, they're for our viewers, whoever's watching this video, because we're not thinking about it from the marketing perspective. We're thinking about it from, who's going to connect with this video. And sometimes the marketing and PR folks haven't thought about it in those terms because they're so hung up on, the message that they need to get out. So I'll ask additional questions, and then you want it to be a conversation. Right. I always, when I sit down to interview somebody, like, one of the typical things I'll say to them is, I hope this doesn't feel like I'm just peppering you with questions. I feel like it's more of a conversation between the two of us. And so that's what I'm always aiming for. You have to get through that list, right. Go ahead and get through that list, but then try to have some sort of an aspect of just a conversation that, isn't you just hammering them with questions.
Mm-hmm. And then do you end your interviews a certain way? Is there a certain question that you kind of land on?
No, I don't have like a big closing, remark or anything. If anything, my closing question is there anything that you'd like to talk about that I haven't asked you already? Yeah. Because a lot of times, I mean, it's like, I always have to remind ourselves, that we do this every day. Right. Like, video is not a big deal to us. This is what we do professionally. But to a lot of people on the other end of the camera, this is, a very rare experience for them. They don't do, especially with like a professional video crew. It's one thing sitting in front of your laptop or, your phone, talking. It's another thing when you've got like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the room, doing it. It's a big deal. And so a lot of times they have thought about it in advance, and there's something that they want to say, and maybe they don't get to it. And then at the end of the interview, they go home afterwards and they're like, oh, I never got to talk about this, And so I always try to ask people at the end of the interview, is there something you've been wanting to say that I haven't asked you? And, it's not this big, like, climactic end to the interview or anything, but at least affords them an opportunity to say something. Whether or not we use it or not, that's up to us.
Yep. I love it. I'll do a very similar, something like, anything else that, and people immediately are like, no. And then you just wait. Yeah, actually, and then
actually, yeah,
you know, and that's all people they just need that because they're in the mode of like, okay, he's asking all these questions.
Right.
Let me answer. Anything else? No, like I think you asked all the questions that I want you to ask, but actually, yeah, I did. There is one thing that I wanted to share. I love that. Just giving that to people.
You know what I love about that too is it's like, I mean, you know, like 8 times out of 10, what they end up saying probably isn't going to end up in the video or something. You know, I mean, like, you know, you've asked the questions that you know you
Right.
need to get to drive the story or whatever it might be. So it usually doesn't end up in it. Every once in a while, though, man, you
That's
get
the
that,
nugget.
you know it, you get that gem
Yep.
where you didn't ask the question and
Yep.
all of a sudden they come back with something and you're like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness, that's a home run
Totally.
soundbite right there. And, you know, you wouldn't have got it if you wouldn't have simply just asked, hey, is there something you want to say? So, I mean, I think you're right. It's a great thing to do.
Yeah, love that. Well, dude, I'm excited. Tell us more about this book that you wrote. What was the impetus behind it? Is that the right word? I tried using that word yesterday, and I don't think it.
I mean, there were a couple of things. I mean, first of all, you know, you talked about like all the content that I've been churning out, all these blog posts and everything. And I've definitely had customers in the past say, hey, you should write a book, or, you know, you should put, you know, some of these, condense it into one spot, you know, for people to, you know, that they can find. So the book is really isn't geared at other video professionals. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that, you know, there's something in there that, you know, anybody could benefit from, especially if you're a young storyteller or a young video professional, you're just getting into it. You know, it might be good for you, but it was really directed at PR and marketing professionals, internal communicators. And the whole idea was just to help them produce better corporate videos. And so, I mean, I touch on everything from, first of all, you need a plan for your videos. It's like so many times companies will just jump into it and say, let's do a video. And everybody's like, yeah, let's do a video. They really don't have a plan for that video. And you're only going to achieve, you know, success with the video if you have a plan for it. So it's, you know, how to, you know, put together a video marketing plan in some way. It's, you know, I expand on my my blog post, the how to pay for video or how to figure out video production costs. I teach people how to shop for video production companies, independent producers, the times when it's acceptable to do DIY videos, because I mean, as much as I'm a video pro, I totally recognize there are videos that people are, you know, should totally just go ahead and do on their own. They don't need professional help with them, especially in this day and age. So it's really that. It's really kind of the blueprint for creating better corporate videos. You know, if anything, it could be a great resource for, you know, people in this community in terms of, you know, if they have a customer and they're like, we don't know how to do this, you know, do you have a resource or, you know, anything that we can turn to that could help us? This book might be a good read for them. It's like 160 pages or something. It's a real easy read. It's not highly technical or anything like that. So I think it's a good one. I'm excited about it, and it comes out on November 15th, and we'll be rolling with it.
That's awesome. And what's your plan? Like, how will you use it?
Well, I think, you know, first and foremost, I'm hoping that it just sort of solidifies me in terms of being an expert in this area. I do a lot of speaking at marketing conferences and things like that. I really enjoy that work. Yeah. I'm already sort of looking past my my video production career and thinking that, you know, once I retire from actually producing videos, that's something I'm going to want to continue doing full time. And so to be an author and an expert in this area, that's, you know, that's one way to go about doing it. But I mean, I hope that when customers come to our website and they see that, you know, we've authored a book on how to do this better, that they will look at that and go like, wow, these people must really know what they're doing. You know, they put it between two covers and put it out there for the whole world to see. And we hope that people pick it up and read it and benefit from it, you know, whether they hire us or not. And that's kind of at the heart of the content marketing strategy is, you know, you want to get some benefit back from it, but you typically end up getting that benefit back to you when you're willing to offer this big benefit to everybody else. So that's a big part of putting out the book.
Dude, I love that. I'm inspired. I'm like, I want to start writing one. That's so fun.
Well, the whole reason I started writing it when all those customers left at the pandemic, I was like, well, I guess I could write that book now.
Yeah.
The whole country is locked down.
Yeah,
There's nothing for us to do.
Right.
And, I guess I better do something. So that's actually when I started writing it.
That's awesome. Congrats, man. That's very, very exciting. Well, Tony, this has been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate your time. I'm happy for your success. How can people check out some of your work and follow along with you and get more info on the book?
Best thing to do is go to t60productions.com, sign up for our newsletter there. It's a monthly newsletter. It's all content driven, so it's all on video production and video marketing and that sort of thing. That's a great way to do it. TonyGnau.com is where you'll find the book. My last name is spelled Gnau, so Tony, TonyGnau.com. That's where you'll find the book. And thank you for having me. And thank you for having this community. I mean, I think this is super valuable for anybody that is in video production or wanting to get into it. I wish that there was a community like this when I did it, 12 years ago. So thank you for doing all of this.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it, Tony. Good luck on the release of the book, and hopefully we'll have a chat like this here sometime in the future.
Anytime.
All right, friend, thank you for hanging out on this episode. To get access to the show notes, the links and things that Tony and I talked about, you can go to studiosherpas.com/304. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, someplace where you can leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are. Are you doing retainer jobs? Are you considering it? And what might that look like for you? What are some of the things? I just like how Tony, obviously the way that we approach business, it's unique for our own skill sets and how we're delivering things to clients. But is there something that you're walking away with, like feeling like, man, I would like to do more retainer jobs, and this is what I think I could go to market with? Because a lot of us dream, I know so many in this community, a lot of the conversations are around like, I want more retainer clients, or I want a retainer client. So curious to hear your thoughts and feedback on that. Remember to grab my workshop. If you haven't watched that already, you can do that at studiosherpas.com/workshop. And then we also have a online community. It's a Facebook group where we've got about 1,000 people in there, and it is a pretty awesome place for you to be able to meet other people in this industry, so you don't feel like you're alone. It's a good place to ask questions. It's a safe place, and you can get access to that group if you go to studiosherpas.com/community. That is it for me today, my friend. I hope this episode finds you well, and I look forward to seeing you on another episode really, really soon, like a week from now. That's it. I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.